Hi, this is Rhonda Shear, and you're staying up all night or day with TV Confidential.
Ed Robertson, along with our guest Louise Sorel. Louise Sorel, the actress known around the world as Vivian Alamain on Days of Our Lives and as Augusta Lockridge on Santa Barbara. Louise's new book, If There Were No Dogs, Musings and Mutterings, is a collection of prose pieces and poems all drawn from Louise's life, childhood, and career, in which she not only shares memories of working with the likes of Art Carney, Charles Boyer, Rita Moreno, George C. Scott, and Dame Judith Anderson, but reveals how Louise navigated a sometimes difficult childhood with emotionally distant parents by discovering the theater when she was a teenager and through her lifelong love of animals. If There Were No Dogs by Louise Sorel, available wherever books are sold online through Amazon.com as well as through BookBaby. Louise Sorel will be appearing at United Solo, the world's largest solo theater festival in New York City on Saturday, November 15th, beginning at 2 p.m. She will read passages from If There Were No Dogs, followed by a question and answer session. Tickets and more information, unitedsolo.org. This is, I'm gonna guess this is a choice your editor made in terms of the order in which your poems and essays and other musings, come together in the book. I think this is kind of fun. You have a poem about erections. It's not what you think, and I don't want Louise to talk about it. I want you to pick up a copy of the book so you can find out what Louise means when she writes about erections. But immediately following that poem about erections, you have an essay called Touch a Class, which is about the feeling that when you realize that you've been terminated from your job and all the various reactions that one goes through. Again, relatable regardless of whether you're an actor or whatever you do for a living, that feeling of loss whenever you're suddenly terminated. I thought it was interesting to have the poem about erections immediately followed by this thing called Touch a Class.
Well, I will comment. I don't know whatever that meant to you. I don't know.
I just found it curious. That's all. But
okay. It's more interesting to me to hear you saying these things than what I've written. I mean, it's just so interesting.
Well, no, but see, that's the fun part of being a writer. Is you never know. Look, I've been writing and editing books for 30 years. Yeah. And when I work on a book, whether it's one of my own books or whether I'm acting as an editor guiding somebody else, I have a picture in my mind of the story we want to tell, and I have some idea of what's likely to respond with everyday readers, or if we're submitting it to a publisher or an agent, professional readers. I have an idea of what they have in mind, but that guides me. But I also realize that you never know how it's going to be reacted, how it's going to be received until you release it.
Exactly.
And so one of the fun things is when you get the kind of responses from readers that you anticipated, that has to feel very good and satisfactory. Mm-hmm. Or satisfying, not satisfactory. It's very different,
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. Just today, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a woman who's very interesting. And when I told her I don't have a book to give her, I said, Mimi, I hope you get the book. And I just, because I feel sort of funny even not having a book to give her, I said, it's only $18.
Yes.
And she said, that's interesting. I said, what? She said, because 18 is the letter for Chai, C-H-A-I, in Hebrew, which is life.
Mm-hmm. Ah.
And I said, what? And I looked it up. It actually is life and death. But she said when, the Jews wear a thing around their necks that is a high. It's this, a sign of life. And it never occurred to me. It was just an odd bit of information that the price of the book basically means life. Because the number 18 is life in Hebrew, is high. Isn't that weird?
It is weird. I can't say that was that was part of the thinking when they priced the book, but
no, it was my idea anyway. The 18 came up between myself and the editor.
Yes,
it never even occurred to me. She just told me that today, and I was sort of, oh my God, wow, okay,
interesting. Here's my response to that. You being a writer, you being as innately curious as you've been since you first came into this world, you now have the subject for your next essay, which will probably be which in turn may be the formation of your next collection of writings.
All right.
I don't expect you to commit to that, but.
Well, you might. If somebody suggests something to me, I sort of go with it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like I said, I think you have. I don't think this is the only book you have in you. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I have a ton of work. And we went through a lot of my journals to select it down to it, so it was a possibility. But I have a ton more of writing.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's.
I have a piece, Ed, which I could never ever put in the book, but it's called "And God Threw Up One Day."
That's a good title.
You know what it's about? What do you suppose it's about in these days?
Oh, I think I think it may have to do with the current occupant of.
You think? It's actually, I'd love to send it to you. It's a very, I love this piece, but I thought, well, I don't think it would be a smart move to put it in this book. It's so, yeah, but I'll be happy to send it to you.
Please.
I like it a lot.
Please do.
It's really disgusting. I will send that to you. I think you'll enjoy it.
All right.
Anyway.
Louise Sorel is on the line with us. Louise Sorel, the actress known around the world as Vivian Alamain on Days of Our Lives and Augusta Lockridge on Santa Barbara. Louise's new book, If There Were No Dogs, Musings and Mutterings, is a collection of prose pieces and poems drawn from her life, her childhood, and her career, in which she not only shares memories about working with the likes of Art Carney, Charles Boyer, Rita Moreno, George C. Scott, Walter Pidgeon, and Dame Judith Anderson, but reveals how she navigated a sometimes difficult childhood with emotionally distant parents by discovering the theater and through her lifelong love of animals. If There Were No Dogs, available Amazon.com, where books are sold online. Louise will be performing at United Solo, the world's largest solo theater festival, Saturday, November 15th in New York City. She'll do a live reading that day at 2 o'clock that afternoon with a question and answer session to follow. More details, you can follow Louise Sorel on Facebook. There are many poems and there are many short writings in the book about some of your favorite dogs, including your first dog.
Yes.
There's also a fun piece in which it's written from the point of view of your dog, Jigs.
Mm-hmm.
Was that fun? Was that fun to do?
Well, it was complicated in that what happened with him in the end. But, that's always the case with animals, and you lose them. But he was quite a character. He basically jigged into my life, in essence. I didn't think that, at the time I didn't know what I was going to call him. But he did jig. Which is one of the things I think I wrote about, if it's in the book, about when they asked me to do a jig on the show.
Yes, I believe it. I believe that is in the book, and that is one of the famous moments of you starring as Vivian in Days of Our Lives. You danced on the grave of an opponent.
Yes. Well, that happened by improvisation, really. I mean, I think I'm not sure I wrote it all because I don't like to, name people or, be negative. But they wrote, she does a jig, and that's when I went up and said, I don't jig. And they said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. So I went downstairs on lunch hour and improvised. And I guess I was sort of a pain in the neck because I kind of like to improve what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because the time is so short and, they need to get things done. And I do tend to be annoying. I mean, I don't think the piece is in there about the sheep that
you're not annoying. You're strong. You are strong and you're opinionated.
It's annoying. It's just that I grew up in the theater, and we're supposed to do the best we can, and it's different in the theater, and the time frame is different for everyone.
Yeah.
So I try to do it fast, even though sometimes it's like, well, I can't do this. Well, you're supposed to do it because it's written. But I try to improve on it. That's all. Whatever you can do.
Yeah, you are not afraid to speak out for yourself.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, and
not always appreciated.
Well, it's not always appreciated, but it depends on it depends on the form you're doing, whether it's television or whether it's the theater. In the case of Vivian and Days of Our Lives, there's a point in television where the actor knows the character better than the writers and better than the producers. Mm-hmm. And so if you're the producer or the writer may not want to hear from you.
Yes. Right.
But at the end of the day, you know what your character is. You know the bones of your character. You know the marrow of the character. You know the blood that's flowing through the body of Vivian better than anybody else. And so it would be foolhardy, and I can say this easily from behind the microphone because I don't work in television, but it would be foolhardy for them not to listen to you because you know best.
Well, yeah, I mean, they do really. It's just that everything's on a time frame, watches and time and seconds and money, etc. And I don't think, I mean, I brought in a lot of stuff without taking up too much time, but there were a couple of things that I know were not appreciated. I think the one where I was supposed to be Bo Peep, kind of. And they said, well, Bo Peep has a sheep. I said, well, if there's going to be a sheep, I'd like a real one. So they gave in to that one, which turned out to be a bit of a mess because the sheep didn't know what the hell he was doing out there on the very famous, expensive Chinese carpet.
Yeah.
And sort of let loose, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And that was not appreciated. It was horrifying.
Yes.
But anyway, things like that happen, and you just have to laugh.
Things like that, yeah, but things like that happen in life. You do your best to put all the pieces in place, you plan, you prepare, and then sometimes something happens in the course of the doing and the course of the execution that goes awry, such as a sheep will make a mess on a very expensive carpet, but you just roll with it and move forward.
Yes, yeah.
That is called life. Mm-hmm. Louise will be back next week for part 2 of our conversation. Among other things, she'll share a few memories of co-starring with Dame Judith Anderson on Santa Barbara. Plus, she'll share a few poignant memories of the years when she was married to Herb Edelman. Part 2 of our conversation with Louise Sorel next week on TV Confidential.
Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
One more item. If you're starting a company, particularly one that is in an emerging market, you know that averting any sort of legal dispute is crucial to your business plan. Our friends at Tectonic Law offer an array of services that can help you avoid and preempt future litigation while also developing and protecting your intellectual property and intangible assets. Tectonic Law serves the needs of a host of emerging industries throughout California and beyond, including industrial designers, beverage makers, artists, farmers, retail stores, health practitioners, wellness experts, cosmetics manufacturers, nonprofit organizations, innovators in sustainable practices, and libraries. Go to tectoniclaw.com to learn more about how Tectonic Law can help your business thrive. tectoniclaw.com. Rock solid representation for groundbreaking industries.
This portion of TV Confidential is brought to us by our friends at Front Porch Realty, the community of realtors in the Northern Bay area of California that is committed to finding the solution that is best for their clients. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to sell or lease your property in Northern California, call Karen Strain at 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com for more information on how they can help you.
Ed Robertson, thanking you for listening to the TV Confidential podcast. If you like what you hear, please hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss our next episode.
Hi, this is Gloria Loring, and you're listening to TV Confidential.
Ed Robertson with a reminder that the next edition of TV Confidential will premiere next week on this station at the usual time. We'll play part 2 of our conversation with Louise Sorel. Plus, we'll welcome back Mitchell Hadley, author of Darkness, in prime time. In the meantime, a reminder that Louise Sorel will be appearing at United Solo, the world's largest solo theater festival in New York City, Saturday, November 15th, beginning at 2 p.m. She'll read passages of her new book, If There Were No Dogs, followed by a question and answer session. Tickets and more information, unitedsolo.org. If There Were No Dogs by Louise Sorel, available wherever books are sold online through BookBaby as well as Amazon.com. Ed Robertson, back for Tony Figueroa, Donna Allen, Phil Grice, and Susan Silver. Thank you so much for listening. Stay healthy, stay safe. We'll talk to you next time on TV Confidential.